Hi, I'm Whit Harris, and this is my exhibition, Come Out the Wilderness at Art Shack. I actually started working with ceramics when I was a kid. I didn't really return to it until grad school, but I remember the first piece I made was a bust of my mother. I didn't really recall that until I went to grad school and started working with clay again. In school, there was a lot of focus on painting. So being a contrarian, I said, let me make a sculpture. And I wanted to make this fountain. And the most reasonable material to use was clay. So when I started using it again, that's when I recalled that I had done this before. And then it triggered this urge to just keep making clay objects. I was invited by a curator in Milan to make a work based on a masterpiece. So I used that as a jumping off point to study the work by Matisse, The Joy of Life. And so with landscape specifically, I was really interested in what kind of lands were being depicted, who were the figures in the land, and Matisse as this very important figure who influenced the ways in which we see the modern world. This painting that I referenced didn't have any black people in it, which is typical of paintings and typical of European paintings, definitely. What I did was I took the image and I inverted the colors as a way to kind of queer the lens, if you will. I just made the colors literally the opposite of what they were in the painting. And then I took the figures out of the landscape and turned them into these sculptures that you see here. I was looking for a black perspective around the ways in which we see ourselves. I often look to Baldwin, and I was reading one of his shorts called Come Out the Wilderness, and it's about a black woman in New York who is talking about navigating the city, her relationships, while existing in a racist society. So she runs into a lot of material and psychological hurdles with her interactions with her boyfriend, who is a white guy, her interactions at work, being around white people, with a male boss, and her desire to be free in a city that seems to constantly want to attack her. Baldwin famously went to France in order to escape the racism of the United States. And Matisse, being a French person, offering his point of view in this painting, a point of view that is deeply informed by his status as a wealthy white man looking towards the global South, if you will. The works were so informed by African aesthetics, Asian aesthetics, the way that he used these elements in order to bring a quote-unquote new vision to European painting. I just thought it would be a good juxtaposition to take the figures in Matisse's work and overlay Baldwin's perspective. Turn them into these 3D forms that could go beyond the imagination of this European painter to illustrate the sort of dissonance between the experience of being black in the world and the way that the world is depicted through painting. It's always been there. The way that it uses this symbolic language to create narratives based on archetypal experiences, the experience of being a mother or the mother figure, the experience of being a sibling, the experience of suffering, the experience of joy and luck. All of these things, they're tenets in astrology. There's a language around them. So I thought the way to imbue my work with that, I guess that symbolism, is just to keep it simple. And yeah, I think about the way that the natural world has been used as metaphors for our internal experiences. So I thought about like, how do I evoke that through color? I use a lot of like blue and green to speak to natural spaces like the earth, the sky, the water, the grass, the body evoked through this like pink color, you know, and I really was like, it needs to be simple, but it's always there. It's always a thing that's there.